Hey guys, what's going on? Nabil Khan here with the Digitry Academy's first live stream. Welcome to this first podcast of our academy. Today, we want to talk to you guys about opportunities and challenges of growing and starting an IT coaching and consulting business. The goal here at the academy is for us to empower IT professionals and to be able to, kind of give them the ability for them to productize their knowledge and expertise and turn it into digital products that can make difference in people's lives. So essentially, today we want to introduce you guys to our guest, who is Gustav B Achu. He is a coach. He is an author. He is the CEO of Icon IT Consulting. I want to welcome him to our first ever live stream. This is our first show, guys. So please give him a round of applause. I hope you guys can hear me. I hope you guys are watching okay. Give me a thumbs up in the comment section if you guys can hear me. Gustav, you're on, man. Welcome. How are you doing? How's everything? Thank
Hey,
you for joining us
Nabil,
today.
absolutely. I feel blessed today. Awesome day to be alive, man. Thank you very much for having me on the show. How are you?
Awesome, man. We're doing great, brother. We're doing great. It's a pleasure to have you here with us and really your expertise in the IT industry and knowledge that you've gained over the years and be able to pass it on to the next generation of IT entrepreneurs and professionals that are looking to really start their businesses. So I'm sure this will be a very fun and valuable conversation that we're about to kick off right now.
Absolutely. I hope it is. I hope it is. Right. I'm just here to try to share some of my experiences, share some of the things I've been through, successes, failures, and just help the people coming after me to avoid some of the pitfalls and probably fast track their success.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Let's start talking about a little bit about your background. Let tell viewers a little bit into Gustav, how you came to starting your own coaching and consulting business, how you even got into IT industry to begin with. Let's start there. Like I know you were in the healthcare industry from
Absolutely,
what we talked.
absolutely, Nabil. Absolutely. And it's very interesting because my journey all the way to where I am today in the IT industry is very interesting. And it's a testament of just the determination, the will, and the creativity of every human being, I believe, possesses that, right? I've been in America about 22 years today, and I came into America, started working in the healthcare industry, like a nursing assistant in a long-term care facility, like most people do, right? Just trying to make ends meet, make sure you're raising some money, taking care of your rent. And so I decided to evolve a little bit and I went into nursing. So I became a nurse. And while I became a nurse, of course, I knew that is not all I wanted to do with my life, but it was something that paid me reasonably well, and I was able to feel like I was living a little bit of the dream, right? So I felt like, hey, I had myself a nice Honda Accord, I had an apartment, I could do a few doubles and make some money, and then okay, life started feeling good. And then I decided I wanted to go back to business school, right? So I went to the University of California in Berkeley. I did a graduate program for about a year, and I came out of there and that is when I really started telling myself, it's time to start taking action in the direction of some of the things you want to do, right? So when I came out of business school, I decided to try on my hand in entrepreneurship. I Before then, I'd been doing some different things while working, like most people. I was into Amway and network marketing. I tried to sell insurance. I would buy used cars from the auction and repair them and clean them up and sell them. I was trying to make. I understood that profits are better than wages. I was just trying to figure out how to get around that, right? And so once I finished at the University of Berkeley, I went back to Africa to open a distribution business. It didn't work out as I wished. I came back to the US, and it's during that time that I got my first contact with the IT industry. I'd heard from a few people about the existence of an IT industry, what happens, the possibilities, but I never took it seriously because in my mind, I'd always thought it was destined for geniuses, right? For people who are so smart like you, Nabil. The guys who are the 4.0 GPAs and the guys who are always at the top
That
of the
wasn't
class.
me.
So I never thought I could be part of that industry. And so when I
Yeah.
came back due to a lot of difficulties and I lost everything while I was out in Africa, I filed for bankruptcy, and that's a story for another day. So I started thinking and trying to figure out what is it I could do that one will let me not work too hard physically, two will pay me reasonably well enough to give me a chance to think and act on my dreams. Because working as a nurse required me working too many hours, so it became very challenging, right? And that's how I started talking to my cousin one day, and he told me about the IT industry. Long and short of the story, I went, took a 6 months training, and it took me about 6 months, and I got my first job in the industry as an Oracle database administrator. And that's how I got into the
Wow.
industry, Nabil. That's a little bit about my background. I mean, a lot of interesting
Wow.
stories, but I just wanted to give the televiewers a little pinch of who I am and where I'm standing here. So this
That
journey up.
that's such an amazing background. I mean, it has culture, it has so many things involved, that can relate to any really, who's going through that process of an entrepreneurial journey.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely,
that's pretty amazing, man. That's pretty amazing.
absolutely. And one of the interesting things is, um, in the process of this time in the industry, I got to learn a lot of things. Number one, I have to learn the skill set, right? That gives you a chance to be able to perform in the
Yeah.
role you are hired to perform. There are many roles in the industry, as you know. But most importantly, you have to, first of all, at least have a fundamental skill set. So I came into the IT industry as an Oracle database administrator managing databases. But of course, in that between when I came in and now, which is about 11 years, I've been able to move into different areas and finally settle into the areas where I feel like that's where my strength is. That's where I've built my business around. And that's where, you know, we've been able to really help people, coach them, encourage them, get them into the industry through the different programs we run, which of course, as digitally, you've been a big part of, just partnering with us and getting us going with those things.
Absolutely, man. Like, and how satisfying is it, good stuff, to like, really have, making a difference into those people's lives, into your clients' lives, right? Where they were doing something totally different, before they met you, and then they learned this IT skill, and
Correct.
through your consulting and coaching services and Icon IT's team, they were able to, land these high-paying jobs. So tell me a little bit about that and that satisfaction, where we're making a real difference, really, like, is the ultimate, right? I mean, like, yeah, we all want to make a tons of money, but
Absolutely.
when you really make real difference in the world, like, that feeling must be like amazing, right?
I it's incredible. It's incredible, and it's probably second only to when my children were born. The feeling I had when my girls were born, and the reason why is because you make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give, right?
That's right.
And when I got in contact with the industry, when my cousin told me about the IT industry, it was in a casual conversation, right? I was reaching out to him because I hadn't spoken to him for a while. And I said, bro, I've just come back from Africa. Business didn't work out. I failed completely. I lost everything. I lost my home in America. I lost my rental property. I filed for bankruptcy. I'm in the process of paying close to $150,000 in debt. I have 4 jobs as a nurse, and I'm only making about $62,000. How can you, what is going on with you? How have you been? And he told me, hey, man, you know what? I'm in the IT industry now and I'm doing something that I think you can do it. I said, why do you think? He said, listen, if I can do it, you can do it. And so when he introduced me to it, I decided and I went down to Maryland and took that class. And this is very important for everybody listening to me. You ask about what the satisfaction is. Before I get to that point, it's important to talk about what the sacrifice is, right? Because if you want to enjoy the bountiful harvest of abundance in glory and success, you must be willing to bear the burden of sacrifice. I left my family in Minnesota. I left my wife and children. I left all the people I know and love. And I went down to Maryland for a year to pursue this program. During that time, graciously, my cousin hosted me for a year, never asked me for anything. I met some other great people out there who helped me along the way. But the important thing to realize is at the point he was talking to me about the opportunity, I had one of two choices. I could think about it and postpone the decision for a further time. I don't know what the outcome of my life would have been now. But it took me a few days and I made a decision. And the reason why I made that decision is because I felt it in my stomach, somewhere deep down there. I knew that there was something about this message and this information that I need to act upon, right? And so that's why when I see entrepreneurs like you, Nabil, trying to encourage people, trying to teach people, trying to guide people how to start their own businesses, how to leverage the digital platform, how you can help coach them, mentor them, and lead them into success. To me, it's a matter of urgency. It's not something to be thinking about next year or the year after. It's a matter of urgency. Just because things like this come probably once or twice in your life, where that opportunity comes. And the difference is some people don't recognize it because they look at it as difficulty. I don't know if it makes
Right.
sense. So
Oh, absolutely.
the satisfaction for me is very heightened because I know exactly what it takes for most people. Because a cross section of the people we deal with are people who are adults, right? And they've done different things with their lives and they're trying to pivot their career. So it takes a lot of sacrifice because I know that you're trying to pay rent, you're trying to take care of maybe your family, you're still trying to pay tuition to learn something new. And it's not usually also very easy when you are learning a new skill, which is related to the computer at a certain age, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. For
the,
some of the
assi-
older guys out there. Yeah,
the assimilation is not the same, right? So every time
yeah,
we coach somebody into success, every time we help people, give them that knowledge, give them that skill set, give them that confidence, guide them towards a new career. And we're talking about people making 27, 30,000 a year, and we guide them through into 100,000, $120,000 a year. No bullshit, no black, no trying to cut the slack here. That is just what it is, right? So I feel very proud, along with all the other team members and our great partners of Icon IT, when we help people in this way. That is why, to me, it is imperative that I come on your platform and help encourage people to benefit from all the great things Digitree is able to offer in terms of helping people start their own business.
absolutely, man. I mean, it's really is about opening people's eyes to really what's stopping them is themselves, right? It's the mindset and the ability to take action, right? Like what's the correlation of you being able to take action or your mindset being aligned with it is huge because if your mindset's not there, you're not going to take action, right?
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
guess what I'm saying is, for anybody who's looking to start their business, they doubt themselves about, hey, am I good enough to be an entrepreneur, or can I go through that struggle, for something better. And it's just, achieving those results requires a certain level of mindset, certain level of discipline,
Correct.
which you just spoke to. It takes struggle and sacrifice. And for you to get through that sacrifice, it takes discipline, consistency to be able to get through those phases and come out on top on the other side. Um, so what would be some words of wisdom that you would have for somebody feeling like that? That's an IT professional that has wealth of experience, but they're kind of discouraged by, hey, that I can't be an online entrepreneur, or productize my knowledge to help people. Like, what would you say to them? That could be watching us, and they want to start their business, but they're not sure where to start, or what they would need to
Mhm.
get going, really.
Um, this is what I'll say, right? It's normal, it's natural. When you're trying to do something you've never done before, you will feel a way you've never felt before.
Yeah, that's
If you
right.
did something you've never done before and you don't feel the way you've never felt before, it means there is nothing at stake.
Yeah,
If there is something at stake, you'll feel the pressure,
yeah,
you'll feel the fear. And fear is not a problem. Let me tell you something. There is one of the greatest soccer players. He's out of Cameroon, out of Africa. He's called Etofis Samuel. Okay? And a journalist, he played for he started playing at 16. He became a professional player. He played for all the top clubs in the world: Real Madrid, Mallorca, Barcelona. He has a statue in the Barcelona stadium. Okay.
Yeah.
And the journalist asked him when he was playing for Chelsea, that is towards the twilight of his career. He was always getting towards retiring. And the journalist asked him, when you get into games, do you still feel that anxiety? He looked at the journalist. He said, hell yes. 17 years later, every time I step on the field, I still feel those butterflies.
That's right.
That's cool, right? So it's not
Yeah.
unusual, it's natural human sentiment. But the one thing I'll tell that everybody is simple. Number one, we are living in the greatest time the world has ever seen. We are living in a knowledge, content, and information economy. What that really means is that before today, to get the information you are getting from us, you either need to go to a library and get a book that we have written, or you go to get a newspaper, or maybe if by any chance if we appear on a radio show, which Nabil and self will never appear because they will think we're not smart enough to be on radio, right? So there was a lot of barrier, but we are today talking about living in a time when information flow is available. With a click of a button, you are getting valuable pieces of information from people with a collective experience of over 20 years in business. That is valuable. The second thing I want to say is understand that the content and online teaching economy by 2022 will be worth trillions. I think 1 trillion or something, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember all the statistics, right? But it will be worth about $1 trillion. Now, the way I think about it, Nabil, is very simple. Number one, if by the end of the day, your content, starting a business impacts even just 100,000 people before you die, that is great contribution to humanity. Number
Right.
two, impacting those people will naturally imply that there's a multiplier effect in the economic value of the impact they would have impacted their own families.
That's right.
Number three, if you end up only with 0.0000001% of that $1 trillion, you would have done well for yourself and your family, which is fair because you've offered value to the world. So if you're sitting out there and you are thinking, you're doubting yourself, you're feeling a little bit reluctant, the thing I will tell you is that be afraid, but take the step. Because if you're waiting for a day when you will never feel that anxiety, it will never come. All the greatest achievements in this lifetime will be gotten when you are in discomfort.
That's right.
Some of the decisions we've made with our lives so far are decisions which are not comfortable. Sometimes you quit your job. Sometimes you will spend money you had to use for something else. Sometimes you sacrifice even getting yourself a vacation retreat to build a business. That is part of the plan. So, my encouragement to a veteran IT person out there, you have the skill, you have the knowledge, you have the wherewithal. Please don't use it only to work for your employer and make money. Use it to also help educate other people. Multiply the effect, multiply yourself, because that is the only way real value is built. I appreciate all the employers I've ever had in my life. They gave me a chance to showcase my skills and make some good money. At the same time, too, I think one of the important things to realize is that as a technologist, as an IT professional, right, there is it's incumbent upon you to also find a way to educate other people, to help teach other people, to help share that knowledge and get more people coming into that kind of knowledge and that kind of experience and that kind of skill set. And I know that a company like Digitree has done it for a company like mine, Icon IT. It can do it for any company, I believe.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's really just, for me, it's about making a difference in businesses where, you know,
Correct.
they where they are at a spot, right? Where they want to make it, get going, but it's just the mindset, the mental block, which stops half of the people. And it's just us making them realize, mentors and coaches like you and I that can break through that somehow. It's not us that are going to do that. It's themselves that are going to do that. And they have to realize that fact. And, getting them across the line sometimes, even I'm sure you work with some people that are more difficult than others, right? And
Okay.
compared to getting them certain types of results. So
Absolutely.
when you have to deal with different personalities as a coach and a consultant, then it really comes to how you can really manage a certain individual, into
Absolutely.
really making them believe, hey, that you can do this, you can achieve this,
Absolutely.
right? So
And
like,
not to cut you, Nabil, you make a very good
yeah,
point. Making them believe that you can do this.
yeah,
That is key. You talked about the mindset. The mindset is the biggest part of the entire process because it starts with the mind. Your body will only go as far as your mind believes.
that's right.
That's just what it is. And one of the things I realized when I got into the IT industry is that unlike what I thought before I got in, right? I used to look at guys who are in the or girls who are in the IT industry, and I thought these geniuses, these are the smartest of the smart. Don't get me wrong, a lot of smart people in the IT industry, right?
Yeah,
A lot of smart people, but sometimes smartness is overrated, Nabil.
yeah,
I will
yeah,
take determination over smartness any day because I've seen it in the IT industry. 99% of people working in the IT industry are not A students. They are
yeah,
just girls and guys who just decide, you know what? I want this thing and I'm going to learn how to code. I'm going to learn how to manage a database. I'm going to learn how to be a scrum master. I'm going to learn how to be an AWS expert and I'm going to excel and I'm going to make money and I'm going to work for 30 years and I'm going to do good for myself. Most of the
right.
people in the IT industry are just everyday people who just make a decision. So
That's
if you're
absolutely
sitting
right.
there and you're thinking, maybe to start or not to start, I want to urge you. If I have a way to push you off the cliff, I'll push you off the cliff, right? Because let me
Yeah,
tell you how eagles teach their young ones and birds teach their young ones how to fly. They never take them to a school and start teaching them how to fly. They take them out of the nest when they are grown a little bit and it's time for them to start learning how to fly. They drop them out of the nest. They'll try to flap their wings and they'll feel like they're dying, and then the parent will catch them and bring them back to the nest. He will do that again, catch them and bring them back to the nest. By the time it does that 2, 3, 4 days, they learn how to flap their wings, and the next thing they know, they're flying. So don't
that's
wait
right.
and say you will grow when you know how to walk. No, that's what the snake says. The snake will always say, "I will feel good and successful when I have legs," and they'll never have legs. Okay, don't wait for that. Get going. It's not Nabil.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, like people, I mean, like I know a lot of IT professionals that are in this space, and I know the market's tough right now for jobs. There's some people, that I've personally known that have gotten laid off recently, looking for work. But they possess experience, they possess knowledge. But again, it's just the mindset that's capped that makes them from actually taking that particular action. And again,
Mhm.
I'm going to beat that dead horse with the mindset, right? Because without a clear and concise mindset, based on what you're trying to achieve and the results you're trying to get, unless those are aligned, you can't get results. Even if you're looking for a job, if you're, take a course for a scrum master, you can't expect that within 5 or 6 weeks you're going to be making, that six figures. You can, yeah, but your
Mhm.
mind's the effort and the work that it takes needs to be aligned with that process, right? Some people can achieve that very quickly. Some people it takes longer and patience and requires 6 months and a year. It took you a year, right, to go away to learn
Absolutely.
that skill in Maryland, and you were committed to that for a
Yeah,
year. But
correct.
most people aren't willing to do that. Most people aren't willing to do that. They think everything can be a get rich quick, or if I do this within 6 weeks, I can do that, right? So that mindset again, it's how can like they align themselves, right? Because I know you're a life coach as well as
Absolutely.
motivational speaker, so I want to know from that side, Gustav, that is somebody who's a motivational speaker as well, to help the viewers out who are IT professionals again, who can
Mhm.
really use some good vibes right now out there.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is how I look at it. Okay. It's never easy losing your job. Okay.
Yeah,
It's never easy losing your job. There is no doubt about that. But also, sometimes when that happens, it's opportunity, right? Mixed with difficulty. That's the way I
Right.
look. Every
Right.
time a human being is pushed to the wall, if you look at your life, that's when you make the greatest leap forward. When you're pushed back against the wall. I look at my own life, right? I was doing my nursing thing, it wasn't bad. Went to Berkeley, came out, went, tried. And when I failed in business, I came back to the US. I was beaten. I was hungry. I was disappointed. I was angry. I had lost two homes to foreclosure. I had to file for bankruptcy. And the only thing that was left was just the people who loved me. They kept believing in me, right? Now my back was against the wall. And I knew that I had to do something because it is said that, right? Anytime you fall, just pray you fall on your back. Because when you look up, you can get up. Okay. If you're sitting there and you've lost your job, my encouragement to you is number one, don't panic. Anytime you panic, you are generating and you are emitting negative energy. And when you're emitting negative energy, it means you're putting yourself in a position of desperation. When you're putting yourself in a position of desperation, it doesn't permit you to think a little bit more clearly. If you can afford to go for a few weeks, just go quietly for a few weeks. Take this time to take a break and think too. I've been through that process too. There was a time I didn't have a job, for more than 6 months. And during that time, of course, money was tight, things were rough. You understand? And you would feel like you need it tomorrow. If you're not, it's going no. Your back is against the wall. That's when ideas start coming. That's when you start thinking of applying yourself. Because up until that point, you've only been applying yourself to the level where your job requires you to deliver. You don't realize that you have more in you than you think you have, right? So
Right.
opportunities like this, building deliverables, building content, teaching about new skills, this is the time you could use to start building those other aspects of your skill set and see how it works.
That's right. I mean, it's just exploring, right? I mean, I really wish somebody who's listening out there that's looking for jobs that have experiences, to at least explore options of starting their own IT coaching and consulting business, because that one decision might just have that multiply ripple effect that Gustav talked about. And you never know, what can happen, right? Because you want to change the destiny of the world, right? You do that by your own actions. We all have a choice and we all make choices each day, and it's just about what we choose to do with it. If we want to take control of our life or have somebody else control it, again, we have that choice, right? So,
And
um,
the beautiful thing is there is no greater nation than America when it comes to business.
yeah,
Number one, you create a business. By the time you hit enter on the computer, you are already able to have your registration number. You can apply for a tax number. In most states, it costs about $300 to register an LLC. Come on, come on. I mean, this is Thursday. By Monday, you are in business. By Monday, you
that's
have a
right.
business. In fact, I'm talking by tomorrow, you have a business. You can print a
Right.
business card already. You start distributing it. You can call the web designer. Hey, Nabil, you have a web designer consultant in a company. Let them build me a website. You can get a few white shirts,
Yeah.
put on a tie if you want to, and you can get on YouTube and you start talking about your expertise. Come on,
Yeah.
come
That's
on.
right. That's right. I mean, it hasn't been easier, right? I mean, it's easier than ever now to really go out
Something
there,
easier, right?
at
Don't
least
see that
start, and
whole
that's all
time.
it takes.
Yeah, don't sit at home whining and feeling bad and feeling depressed. Don't let that come to you. That is what I'm going
Right.
to tell everybody. I know sometimes when you're used to a job, you lose a job, you feel like, no, don't let depression come to you. You are stronger than you really think you are. You have more skills than you think you are. Just get up, try something, do something. Do something. It might not be the only thing you do, but it will be a step leading you into that direction until a time when maybe you can get another job, or if you want to get back into that, or if you want to just abandon the whole idea of working and getting into business, which I would say you should consider that, but also think about it carefully and plan carefully towards that. Don't make abrupt decisions. But if it's a situation now for you without a job, just get up and do something. You got to fight against the things that are coming to you, the messages that will be coming to your subconscious, telling you that you're not enough, telling you that maybe you're not what you thought you used to be, telling you that maybe you're not good enough. No, you're good enough. You've been delivering for years. It's just a hitch, and it will happen every time, right? It will happen every time. You have this you have the winter season. After the winter season, what do we have, right? We have the spring season. After the spring season,
Right.
what do we have? We have the summer. After the summer, we have the fall, and then back to winter, right? So if you ask me, Gustav, what do you think are the prospects for next year or 2 years from now? You know what I'll tell you, Nabil?
What?
Opportunity mixed with difficulty. That is really
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
There is a difficulty in losing a job, there is opportunity in starting businesses.
That's
You
right.
decide.
That's right. It's absolutely right. I mean, and when one door closes, another one opens, right? So it's
Absolutely.
about you being able to see that other door opening right in front of your eyes, which most of us get blinded by or have a fear or some type of, anxiety to go through that door. That's all it takes is really just, you seeing that door and you walking through it, and you're the, I mean, really, it's the decision that kind of carries you forward after that fact, right? Once you get
Absolutely.
through that door. So it's really about your initial decision that you take when you see your opportunities, like you really want to open your eyes to it and see what's out there, like explore. And right now we spend so much time on, like, all this other stuff on Netflix and stuff like that. There's so many productive things we could do to build businesses, to do better things, to make a difference, so
Absolutely.
that's pretty great, man. So I mean, like, I know, like, in business, I want to get in a little bit about, actually, now you started your Icon IT consulting business, right? It wasn't always easy. You went through your phases, as you said, different seasons in business. Some struggles that you faced during, your growth of business, and how you overcame some of those challenges. I know we've discussed, your marketing and being able to get in front of the right buyers,
Uh-huh.
right? So you made certain decisions to solve that problem. So as a business owner, as a CEO, like, how do you view somebody who's having to go through, some business challenges? Let's say they take that decision to start their business and they want to get going, right? But obviously they're going to face challenges. Once they're facing those challenges, how do you,
Uh-huh.
advise that they prioritize and really make, the calls that their business needs, rather it be hiring people or
Correct.
getting something done? Like, what's the mindset in that scenario?
Oh, the first thing is this, right, Nabil? I mean, I wish when I was starting my business along with my partners, shout out to Mr. Mofo, Udrik, Christine.
Yeah.
I wish when I was starting my business, we had consulting businesses, or I knew consulting businesses. Like, what do you do? It would have cut our errors by 70%. It would have done one other very important thing. It would have harnessed our energy in the right direction. You see, when you're starting a business and you don't have guidance, what really gives you a chance to be able to succeed with that business is just sheer determination. Because you hit your head so many times, if you're not determined, you don't want it bad enough, you are going to give up. That's why 4 out of 5 businesses about fail. I'm not trying to scare nobody, but I'm just saying that it's a great privilege today to have companies like Digitree that you can pay next to nothing for consulting, for knowledge, for guidance, for holding you accountable, for giving you leads, for helping you stand in front of the right customers, reducing your energy, right? So that is one thing. I mean, starting the business, the first thing is just get going. But the second thing, seek help. When I say seek help, and today we live in a time when help is very cheap. Help is very cheap. For example, By the time Nabil and I finish this interview, this is about a 1 hour conversation we've been having. Nabil will have it on his Facebook page, it will be on YouTube free.
Yeah.
Can you evaluate how much this information we've been passing here cost? Right? But then, of
Yeah.
course, if you want additional help, you want additional support, you align with the right people. The third thing, if anybody tells you knowledge is important in business, skill is important, knowing what you want is important, but mentorship is very important. Having a mentor, having somebody who has done what you're trying to do and who is there to help and guide you towards getting where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
I think it's important to understand because when Nabil asked me if we could have a conversation, that is what intrigued me because the mentorship aspect of starting, building, running a business to me is more important than capital. The
Absolutely.
fourth thing, starting an IT business today is very cheap, very
Yeah.
inexpensive. What do you really
Yep.
need? You need a laptop, you need internet,
Yeah.
and your knowledge.
Knowledge.
That
Yeah.
is really it.
That's it.
Only thing you're going to pay for is consulting and guidance from mentors or from coaches like myself or the companies, support companies like Digitree run by Nabil, and that's about it. It's so inexpensive, it's not even funny. You
Yeah.
don't need no physical space. You don't need no brick and mortar. You're not paying no rent. Let me tell you something, Nabil. When we started Icon IT, we actually had a physical office.
Yeah.
We were paying $1,700 a month in rent. Okay.
Yeah.
3 months after that, the rent moved up to about $2,400. Right?
Wow.
We ran that place continuously for a few years, and then COVID hit. When
Yeah.
COVID hit, I told myself, COVID has just started, so we shouldn't cancel our rent, our lease yet. So we hung in there for another 5 months, hoping that COVID will pass and we'll go back into the office. And then before I finally pulled the plug on the lease and said, hey, you know what? Well, we are going to abandon this. We can't do this no more. Right? But
Yeah.
now what it really did, even though COVID came as a disruption, it came as a difficulty, but it opened our minds to realize that you know what? We don't really need a physical space for the kind of business we do. We
Yep. You
don't,
don't. Yep.
right? And I
Yeah.
still I still hit myself in the head. I get a piece of pie and I put on my face. I said, Gustav, what were you doing for 6 months? Why did it take you 6 months to pull the plug? Those are some of the things. For example, if I had a Digitree as a consulting partner, then they would have told me for month two, Gustav, cancel the lease. This is what we
Yeah.
need to do. Cut down your expenses, cancel the lease, stop deliveries, stop consignments, stop this, stop that. Let's get down to the bare minimum. I was trying to make all those decisions by myself. Some of it I don't even have expertise in. And I
Yeah.
paid the price. I
Yeah.
paid the price heavily. That is where coaching, mentorship comes into play. That is where it's important. Some people might think, and I can say this because we live in a knowledge economy today. A single piece of knowledge can change your life, your business forever.
That's
And
absolutely
when you're
right.
asked, what is the cost of that knowledge? You can never give a cost to it, right? So I'm encouraging
It's
anybody who is,
invaluable, really. Yeah.
yes, I'm encouraging everybody who is out there to understand that knowledge and mentorship is important. Let me share a story before we continue, Nabil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There was this a submarine, right? And this submarine, they took about 22 years to build this submarine. Beautiful submarine, sophisticated. At that time, it was projected like the greatest submarine ever.
Yeah.
Now, this submarine, after a few years of plying the oceans, it ran into some mechanical issues. Okay.
Yeah.
And they tried for years to repair that mechanical issue. They couldn't. They ran for years, called different mechanics, different submarine engineers, different marine mechanics and specialists. They came. And then somebody proposed to them about it. And a guy who was already retired, and this at this point was an older guy, right? He had worked in the industry for about 40 years and he had retired into a small village somewhere in Italy. And they went and begged him to come and take care of it. And so when he came, he examined the submarine and he quickly identified the problem, right? And within the next hour or two, he had solved the problem. And so he gave them a bill. Now, this is the interesting part of the story, what he wrote on that bill, right? So
Yeah.
let's say the bill is $1,000, right?
Yeah.
That's the number. He wrote effort and work, $10. Knowledge and experience, $990.
Yes, that's right.
Are
That's
we
right.
together? Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is what I'm talking about. You might, it's because sometimes people don't understand the value of knowledge. It's because somebody is talking. Oh, you hear people sometimes. Oh no, I can get it anywhere. I can go to YouTube. I'll see it. No, I'm not saying yes. There's a lot of knowledge out there, but to have consistent, organized, productive guidance, which has been tried and tested, is different.
Yeah.
That is
Yes,
the difference. You could go to Google now and you Google anything, you will see it. But the difference is, how do you know if it's true? What do you have to compare against that? Do you have it from a verifiable source? Do you have it from a credible source like DGT teaching you how to build businesses? That is where the difference lies. If you're out there trying to create a business, I encourage you, don't hesitate. Invest in that. Investment is your mind, investment in your time, investment in some financial resources. It will double. You will be successful if you do those things.
that's absolutely awesome, man. I mean, it's seeking help. Like that's like my the what I get from that entire thing, right? Because knowledge and seeking help, and it's forward them to at least a couple of years, 3 years, depending on if they're teamed up with the right coach and mentor. If they select the right coach and mentor, as you said, they can fast forward that process and avoid the mistakes that they can be pitfalling into, right? So
Absolutely.
and that's an unseen thing, right? So people don't value that to a certain point where they're like, "Hey, I can avoid something that I've not seen before." But if you have the right coach and mentor in place who's guiding you through that process, you'll avoid those pitfalls and will be really fast forwarded to where you want to be literally in a couple of years. And that's how fast things are with AI and automations and things like that nowadays.
Absolutely.
Power of ads and really just them being accountable is what we really need, like discipline and accountability
Absolutely.
for them to really go out there and try and achieve their dreams. And once if you're able to really put your mind to that and go out there, I don't see anybody not being successful in business.
Absolutely.
Especially if your mind is right to it. So that's awesome. And some things I want to bring up also is um like growing teams, like for me personally, I know when I started a business, as we spoke about earlier, we're not A students, we're not 4.0 GPA guys, we're
Yeah.
normal kids who kind of struggled in school, who kind of did okay, who passed through college and did our MBAs, got our jobs, and did work in the corporate industry. uh but being able to understand that people are the real source of power in a team, right? When you're growing your business,
Absolutely.
how important it is to get the right people, the right team in place, right? That you can rely on. And an entrepreneur, I feel like, sometimes they feel overwhelmed that, hey, I have to do everything in my business, right?
Correct.
Sometimes it's just their time is worth more than them going to learn it or them being able to, learn it and do it. Sometimes you just hire somebody and it's better for your business, right? So
Absolutely.
in, in that scenario, growing a business, right? Hiring the right people again, um, and being in a mindset of, um, like how can I make those calls in a business, environment, right? Like what gives them confidence? Like how can somebody go through, and make those decisions of growing their, business really? Like, is it developing the right partnerships or?
Couple of things.
leveraging the right technology, for example. I'm trying to like understand,
Yes, couple
some
of
ways or
yeah.
pathways they can take, um, when they're going through that type of an experience in their business.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, the first thing I would say, number one, don't do business alone. Okay?
Yeah.
There is no lone wolf business here. There is no hero here trying to do it all alone. I read something many years ago and it totally changed my mind about business. And the writer wrote, he said, I would rather have 1% each of 1,000 brains than 100% of one brain.
Yeah, that's right.
It hit me really hard, right?
Yeah,
Number
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Number two, a lot of times when people think about business, they think about raising capital, they think about all that good stuff, right? Raising capital, getting the processes, all those things are important. But the most important is human capital. Human capital
right.
because it is the glue that connects everything else. You could have buildings, you could have capital in the bank, you could have money, you could have the business idea, but you don't have the people to execute for you. You don't have the people who believe enough in your idea to want to work in that direction.
Yeah,
A lot of companies today are spending billions on people, bringing in new hires, bringing in directors, vice president, executives to manage just not the human resource department, to manage staff experience, people experience within the company. That is totally separate from the human resources department.
yeah,
Their job is just to resell the company, to sell the idea and the ideals of the company to the staff. Because if they don't believe, a customer will not believe. So
that's
find
right.
partnerships, find people you can work with, people who believe in your idea, people who believe that what you're trying to do makes sense and they are willing to partner with you. The third important thing I believe is very important is be ready to try a few things. When I say try a few things, in the case, for example, where you have a consulting company or you have a partner like Digitree, those few things will be very few because it's proven, right? So those few things will be very minimized. But be ready to try a few things. For example, we were building a marketing campaign for my business many months ago when we just first met, right? We're building ads for Facebook, we're building ads for Instagram, and all those different platforms. We had to try different cuts of the ads. We tried multiple different cuts to determine which one was the most effective, and we push through with that one. When it becomes ineffective, we try a new one, right? You will
Yeah,
be able and you should be willing to try things. The fourth thing, be relentless. Relentless means what? Relentless means sometimes when you start a business, a lot of times, since you are the main sponsor, you're the one selling the idea to other people to come join you and do the business. The way you feel about the idea, the way you believe in the idea might not be the same way the next person believes in that idea. And that
yeah,
shouldn't discourage you. Your job number one is to try to sell that idea to the person, but your job number two is also to stay resilient, even when everybody else's confidence and belief wanes. You stay resilient. I was reading the story of one of the greatest companies on earth, right?
yeah,
Microsoft. And one of the thing, actually, I was watching a documentary on Bill Gates, and every year he takes about 2 weeks and he goes away to a desert in New Mexico. He has a cabin there and all he goes along are with books.
yeah.
Okay, he goes with books and diet coke. Of course, he
Okay.
eats. He loves his diet coke, so he's always drinking. Right? Gets his books and he tries to read as much of those books as he can during the 2 weeks. Right? And once he does that, then he comes back. He says that is the time for him when he cuts out some time every year to read and expand his mind, to understand. Right? In all fairness, Nabil, I've listened to the guy spoken on different topics. And that's one of the smartest guys on earth. And the reason why is because he spends time learning different things, reading about different things. This guy partnered in his foundation to do something about pit latrines in a lot of poor nations. This guy spoke
Really?
about pit toilets for 1 hour, the technology, the idea, the science behind it. It was incredible, Nabil. So, anyways,
Yeah,
I am sharing that story to tell you that the fourth important thing when you're building, when you're starting and trying to build a business, be curious, learn things. You see, every evening once I finish with my day, I go sit in front of the TV. I don't have cable at home. Okay. I pull YouTube. And on YouTube I watch a lot of different things. The other day I was watching the planes of the future.
yeah,
About 2 weeks ago, I was obsessed with submarines. Right. In
yeah,
recent times, I've been watching financial advice, how to manage the money you make, because it's not about making money; it's about keeping what you make and multiplying it. So you have to have that mindset of always wanting to learn. Right. So
that's
those are
right.
some of the things I believe will be very helpful.
Absolutely. The learning never stops, and that's really the ultimate, right? When you understand that, hey, it's always staying one step ahead of the game and being able to learn and apply those things and not just learn, right? Because I can read a book and I can, learn whatever I need, but if I'm not applying those, things that I'm
Absolutely,
learning into my business and into my daily life, then it's not worth it because then you're not using those things. It's really learning it and then applying it into the business, and you'll be able to help a lot more people, right? In
absolutely,
that way, when you know that information you've applied on yourself, and when you talk about your own experiences, right, nobody can take that away from you because hey, I did this, I was able to do this. No matter when you talk to somebody, it's always gonna hold
absolutely,
credibility because you're talking on your own experience. So that's what's really like, again, the mindset thing, I want to go back to because I want people to understand that it's only that mindset that stops them
yeah,
from achieving what they want to achieve. It's that simple as that. You make a decision, you get across the other line, and the rest becomes easier as you go through it, right?
absolutely, 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 Nabil.
So it's been an amazing conversation, man. Like I want to thank you,
You,
I want to thank all of our audience for sticking around watching. If they have any questions at this time, I'd like to open up the floor to any viewers right now, watching. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. Gustav's here. I'm here. We can, chit
absolutely.
chat for a little while longer and really answer some questions for you guys. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely, Nabil. It's certainly always a pleasure, right? Just being on a very respectable platform like yours with all the things you've been able to do. I mean, starting from your days in, finance, accounting, and moving all the way to, just transferring that knowledge into trying to help people build their own businesses. I just want to encourage each and everyone sitting out there that, especially, especially if you're watching and you are in America, this is the greatest nation on earth, bar none.
yeah,
Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. And the one thing I know is that you were one out of over 400,000 possible combination within the spermatozoa of your father. What are the odds that it was you?
yeah,
So what do you have better odds succeeding in business than predicting that it was going to be you
that's right.
that will come true as the son or the daughter of your parents, right? And the third thing, most importantly, is none of us are going to get out of here alive. So you really have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
Nothing really to lose. Try it. I always say this: the the weight, okay, the weight of failure weighs an ounce, but the weight of regret weighs a pound.
that's right. It's very
It's
heavy,
more,
man. I mean,
it's more painful regretting than failing.
yeah. And it's unfortunate because people realize much later in their life that
Right.
hey, I could have been doing this earlier and could have been doing this earlier and doing this. It's, like, take risks, guys. I mean, life is the thrill of life, right? When somebody goes skydiving, right? They jump out of a plane for the thrill of it, right? Because that's just the feeling of life. When you're in your own business, you feel that freedom come back to you, right? Because it's like you're not, I've worked my corporate job, for 14 years. I was in the corporate world. I was a controller of a staffing firm, right, for a little while. So it was essentially, me having to understand that, hey, I'm in control here, right? And once you take that control back and start to really, use it and, use that experience and apply it into different industries. I mean, I started a marketing business, right? And a software business from coming from finance. And I did it during that time. So the thing is that you can pivot and you can get into something different and use your skills from other parts of your life and transfer them into something new, like, becoming a scrum master or an AWS developer or an Oracle database administrator. Uh, so it's, again, just making that decision, getting to it, and having somebody to help along the way to, help you not make those mistakes and avoid pitfalls and really, guiding you through the process, as you said, Gustav. I mean, it's amazing, man. That's what I love to do. What I love to do is to make a difference. You love to do what you love to do is to make a
Absolutely.
difference. And
And
money is just the after fact of it, right? I mean,
you
because we love
absolutely,
to make a difference.
absolutely, absolutely. And the sooner the better. In the sense that what? In the sense that somebody just wrote that experience is the best teacher. That is true. That is true.
Yeah,
Behind
yeah.
all the
Let's
glory
bring that
you
up.
see, behind all the glory you see, there is a story, right? But the one thing which is beautiful is the best time to have planted a tree, right, was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah,
The next best time is today,
it's now.
right?
Yeah,
And the advantage of starting early is that you learn early and you cut down a lot on the lead time because you have people who can help you in that process. Now, think about this, Nabil. Something very fantastic happened to me not too long ago, give or take about a month ago. And I'm sitting in my office like I am right now talking to you. And my
yeah.
daughter came through the door. I was on a live podcast. And she came through the door and I motioned to her, please. She's 13. And she came back again. I said, go wait for me. Now I finished. I was tired. The next day she came again. And I finally said, okay, what is the deal? She said, Daddy, I want to show you something. I said, yeah, what's the deal? She said, okay, are you ready? I said, yeah. She went and brought her laptop. She came, sat right in front of me, and pitched an idea through a 14 PowerPoint slide of a business she had thought about the last 9 months, tried the product, started packaging the product, transparent lip gloss with different flavors and stuff like that. She likes that kind of stuff. And she was telling me, she showed me the different presentations, her marketing plan, her business plan, how she plans to sell this, where she sees the business in 5 years. And I asked her, I said, how can I help you? She said, well, she needs some money to buy some additional products because she has already tested 3 different flavors. She wants to expand her product line to about 9 flavors. Okay. Now, this is what when she left, of course, I didn't want her to feel like it was some amazing thing she was doing. So I just hit my emotion.
Yeah.
But when she left, I thought to myself, I said, Nabil, she's already thinking like that and starting something like this at 13 years old, right? What that really means is by the time she is 26, she has 13 years experience in business. Imagine for a second, imagine for a second that I've been in America 22 years today, right? I've always had a business, but I've never really made that a full-time movement. Imagine that 22 years ago when I came to America, I started a business and I focused on it. Where would I have been today?
Oh, imagine, man. It's just, again, the power of choice. We all
Exactly.
have that option, but the thing is that we're only shown a certain way. I'm also an immigrant, moved from Pakistan. My family moved here, around same 23 years ago, and the vision was to just really go to school, get a job, go to college, like, just work in the corporate world. And that's the path I was shown. I wasn't shown anything else until through my own experiences meeting the right people, I saw this other side where I'm like, hey, I can be an entrepreneur, I can be a business owner and make a difference in people's lives. And really that's what I want people to understand is that they have a path, right? I mean, some people feel like they're not good at school, that's good. Like, if you don't know what you want to do after high school, you're not sure, don't waste your money in going to college early. First, figure out what you want to do. Once you're certain and smart enough to know, hey, this is my passion, this is what I want to pursue, then go pursue a degree. At a young age, I had no idea what I wanted to become at a 17-year-old. I
Mhm.
mean, especially the way I was, right? So you could be a somebody who's raised, right, to make sure that you go to Harvard and go to those big schools and achieve something and become something. My sister is a perfect example of that because she's going to be a doctor, and we from her childhood we were like, hey, you're going to be a doctor, and she's about to finish her medical degree, like her
Awesome, awesome,
residency.
awesome,
So I
awesome.
know some things work that way, but for some things it's just you have
Right.
to take that leap of faith and really know, hey, this is my passion, this is what I want to pursue. And if you're not sure of it, don't make a foolish decision and go with something that you're not unsure of, right?
And
So
you make some really great points there because one of the things which is important to remember is they're not mutually exclusive, right? And that's exactly what you're trying to say. In fact, they're
yeah,
complementary. I would say that what gave me the most success in every business I've done is money I was able to raise working for somebody. Let's I want us to understand this concept very well, right? Because
right,
sometimes people feel like, okay, entrepreneurs, when you become an entrepreneur, you're running a business on your own. Somehow it means working for somebody or getting a job. It's useless. No, that's not what it is. uh, and I'm just highlighting what Nabitu has been saying because we all have a background from accounting, finance, running a company,
yeah,
and as a controller for years. You prepared for this time, right?
yeah,
And so what it really even means is for those people who might be even, are still working or maybe just lost their job, this should tell you that there are other opportunities out there other than just your job,
yeah,
right?
that's right,
This is forcing you, this is nature's own way in forcing you to maybe even rediscover some skills, some knowledge, some strengths that you never even knew you had.
right.
Right? Exactly. So it's been a great pleasure, Nabil. I mean, wonderful conversation. Thank you very much for having me on the platform. I don't know if there are any questions for me.
Absolutely, man. No, I mean, if our viewers have any questions, you guys can post them for Gustav. We'll be on for probably another couple of minutes here. Um, but yeah, man, besides, just
Absolutely. You know, and and,
getting
and, and there is no secret to success,
yeah,
right? There are some guidelines, there are some things, but I think if you just stay focused, you stay on it, right? You do it many times over, you're going to get it. Now, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I watch a lot of sports, right? Soccer,
yeah,
baseball,
same here.
um, basketball. And one of the things you would notice across all the athletes is repetition to the redundancy. What we see on game day has been done 10,000 times before game day, right? And I believe in
Right,
business too is the same. Like with most things in life,
right.
anything you stay on it, you do it long enough, you become an expert at it.
That's right.
It's just as simple as that.
Business is a game, essentially. Business is a game, and you can relate it to a lot of things in your life. I mean, some people I know related to game of chess, right? Like some people that I know related to different things in life. So it's what one particular person can relate that business to, and in their mind make a decision to be like, hey, this is really the priority for me, and really do it. Because people that are working, right, they don't have to leave their jobs to get to start their business,
Of
right? I
course,
worked 4 or 5 years while working a corporate job. I started my business passively, right? You passively build your business, and as soon as you're building your team and you can rely on your team, that's when you can kind of, take a decision. Hey, my business is doing good. I can kick back and just focus fully full time on the business, right? So it's the ability to being able to start, you know, really even working a job, starting passively, putting a couple hours a day into your business. You'll be surprised, where their business can be in the next like a year or 6 months, even doing it passively, right, Gustav? Like it's again just
Absolutely.
taking action, consistently working towards it daily. Uh,
Absolutely.
you
And
know,
accumulate 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, work on your business. Accumulates over time.
yeah,
Accumulates over
yeah,
time.
and the
And
and the
one of the
time not the time
yes,
lost when they haven't taken the decision is, time goodbye, because time is our number one asset, right? So
absolutely, absolutely, Navia.
I want to again people to understand, don't wait on things to get better. Don't wait on things to be like, hey, tomorrow it's going to be better. If you
Correct.
want to make a difference and if you want to change your own life, you have to make a decision, make a choice. And I hope again this conversation helps you to make that decision, make that choice, and take that leap of faith, and start your own online business. And we're here to help you. Gustav's here, to help you guys as well. If you guys are looking for consulting on scrum master roles and different type of services, from Icon IT. Gustav, if you want to mention some of your services so people can reach out to you,
Absolutely,
because I
yes,
know a lot
absolutely,
of people are watching, from that are scrum masters, especially on LinkedIn. I know I'm connected with a lot of scrum masters, in the
absolutely.
industry. So if you guys want to reach out to Gustav for his consulting services, feel free. I'll drop his description or and his website in the comments once I post this live stream, so you guys will be able to get access to Gustav. You guys can book a one-on-one appointment with him, and also look to see if you guys need his services. And again, if you're looking to start a business, reach out to us, the Digitree. We're here to help you guys. Gustav, it was great talk, man. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure is
Uh,
mine.
Lovely
Thank you so
talking.
much.
Thank you guys. Much appreciated. And we'll talk to
Yeah,
you guys next time until second episode. Have a great day.
absolutely. Have a good one, everyone. Bye for now.